So you're thinking about making a move to the Meridian, Idaho area, but before you do that, there's a few things that I really think you need to know. In this video, I'm going to break down some of the biggest pros and the biggest cons about living here in the Meridian, Idaho area. That way you can see if this is actually a good place for you or if you need to look somewhere else. I'm Chase Dolan, your Boise realtor, and if you're watching this today and you're like, hey, we're actually looking at Meridian, we have some specific questions for you, go ahead and drop me an email down below. All of our information is in the description in the first comment. We would absolutely love to chat, whether you're making a move next month or next year. No worries. We just want to chat and figure out a way that we might be able to help. And if you're watching this and you actually learn something or you just like the content, hit that like, hit that subscribe button down below. That way you really can show that this actually resonated with you, because that's kind of the reason why I'm doing it. I want to make sure that you actually want to see that. And to get started, let's just talk a little bit about what the heck is Meridian, Idaho. Maybe you aren't even familiar with the area and this is the first time you're hearing about it. What is this city? Where is it? Meridian is going to be the biggest suburb of Boise, Idaho. It borders Boise right on the western edge, right at Eagle Road, basically here in our valley. It's going to be the second largest city here in the valley, only number 2 to Boise. Meridian's going to have a population of around 120 to 130,000 people, and over the years, this city has completely exploded. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video, but it is definitely still a much slower pace of life than Boise. So if you're looking for something that's a little more suburban, Meridian is definitely suburb central. You're just going to find planned unit development over and over, but for people that are looking for those, that's what makes Meridian so appealing for so many people. One of the things that really makes Meridian stand out, and this is going to be our first pro that we're going to talk about today, is that there's just an abundance of things to do, places to try, restaurants to go to, shopping options in Meridian that really just second to Boise is going to have the most options of just things to do in our entire valley. So maybe you're coming from a place that just has a massive, just vast array of offerings for different types of food, different restaurants. You have a few different like strip malls or shopping centers that you like to go to. Maybe you like to pick and choose which grocery stores you shop at because you want certain things at Trader Joe's, you want certain things at your local Kroger. If having options like that for you to actually choose from is important to you, that's going to put Meridian a little bit higher on your list than some of the more rural towns around our valley. So a few areas that I want to highlight is starting with Eagle Road, which is again that border basically between Meridian and Boise. This is basically the busiest road in our entire state. Eagle Road gets some of the most traffic. That's where people use their commutes. Like getting from north to south Meridian, kind of going from up here in the northern edge and getting to the highway is something that I talk about a lot on this channel. Eagle Road is one of the main thoroughfares for that. This is also where you're going to find most of the big box stores. You're going to find the chain restaurants. You're going to find your Trader Joe's, your Lowe's, Target. You're also going to have the Village located right off Eagle Road as well. And that's where our new In-N-Out is, which is not helping the traffic at all, but it's a fantastic thing that we now have here in our valley. And of course, you have 3 main highway exits out of Meridian. You're going to have the Eagle Road exit, you're going to have the Meridian Road exit, and then 10 Mile. Each of these exits is going to have a ton of stuff, kind of restaurants, things to do. You're going to have different services, medical offices, a hospital. All of that is definitely going to be kind of centered around that highway exit, but that is just the tip of the iceberg with Meridian. We have a couple of new developments popping up when we're talking about the commercial side of things. Out towards kind of northern Meridian up here, we have Orchard Park. There's already some great restaurants. There's a Costco, there's Fred Meyer, there's a new library. There's gonna be even more things that they're building on to kind of give that better commercial kind of development, one-stop shop for people that are living in that part of Meridian and not as close to the Village per se. And then talking about the Village, this is just a big kind of outdoor shopping mall. There's a big courtyard, there's a lake, they do different things around the holidays. This is where some of the best restaurants in Meridian are. There's a Village Cinema, the movie theater. The developers of the Village are actually in works right now out on the 10 Mile exit to do a new development, kind of a mixed use development with various different restaurants. It's gonna have another movie theater. It's all about bringing those options to different parts of town, so not everybody has to flock to the Village, which is part of why the traffic on Eagle is as bad as it is. And I know I talked a little bit about the traffic over that last one. That is gonna be the biggest con, number 1, of living in Meridian. This is gonna be the busiest suburb in the entire Treasure Valley outside of Boise, of course. This is where you're gonna have the most traffic, you're gonna be sitting at the most lights, you're definitely gonna have to plan your commute accordingly. But a big part of this is because people really do like this part of town. Whether they work in Meridian, go out to dinner, they're going to see a movie, maybe they're going to Topgolf, Meridian is located right at the center of our Treasure Valley, so it definitely is kind of the nexus of our valley. So people are gonna be coming in and out of Meridian all day, every day, regardless of where they live, which increases this traffic. As development continues to expand, especially into South Meridian, hopefully they start to get better at kind of putting this traffic, helping ease the stress of all of our roadways, because we are growing at such a rapid pace. That's part of why our traffic has been so bad for the last few years, just because we weren't ready for this growth. There's a massive highway extension that's going to connect Highway 84 to Chinden on the north side of the valley, but that could still be a few years out. But that's going to be a huge thing to kind of, again, release some of that pent up traffic that will just help everybody get from point A to point B a little bit easier. Now, hopping back over to the pro side, pro number 2 that we're going to talk about today is that Meridian, just to be completely honest, is a great, cheaper, more budget friendly alternative compared to Eagle and Boise, which are the 2 most expensive places in our valley. Meridian is going to be a heck of a lot cheaper when we're looking at the median price point compared to Eagle, but even when we're looking at Boise, you're going to save about 10% if you buy the exact same home in Meridian versus Boise. And this is a massive pro because, again, that location that I talked about, you are only 10 to 15 minutes from everything that Eagle has to offer, 10 to 15 minutes from everything that Boise and downtown has to offer. So you're still within shouting distance, so you can take advantage of all of the perks and save a little bit of money on your house price. And this is just talking about Meridian as a whole. If we really want to split it out between North Meridian and then South Meridian split by the highway in the center, you're going to see even more of a big budget difference. South Meridian is going to give you a lot more bang for your buck than, of course, Eagle and Boise, but even then North Meridian, and there's some reasons for that. You're a little bit ahead of the development. There's going to be a lot more new construction. There's not as many services, stores, restaurants, and everything out there quite yet. But as that continues to get built out, there's going to be some pretty cool opportunities. Now, one of the things that Meridian cannot match Eagle or Boise off of, and this is our next con that we're going to talk about, is the access to the foothills and the different types of topography in those cities itself. Meridian as a whole is going to be basically flat topography throughout the entire city. There are going to be some developments, especially in South Meridian, that are on these little ridges. So you're going to see a little bit of some up and down. There's going to be some view opportunities. It's not completely just one level, but when we're comparing it to Eagle or Boise that has the foothills, you can go hiking just out your back door. That's not quite the same feel in Meridian. Meridian's gonna feel like that extension of Boise into the quote unquote suburbs. So you're still gonna wanna travel to these other towns for that sort of activity. But one of the flip sides of this is in Meridian, you're not paying the prices to be near those foothills. You can still take in the foothills around every single side of your view. You're gonna get that really good landscape kind of atmosphere. You're getting all that Boise and the outdoors has to offer. But again, you're just a little bit more separated, so you're saving a little bit of money on it. For example, in the winter, when Bogus Basin, our big ski resort just located right outside of town, when it's all lit up and busy during the winter months, you are able to see all of that from Meridian. So you're still close enough that you can really take advantage of all of the sights and get that scenery. It's just if you're looking for that close proximity or you want a foothills home, something along those lines, Meridian's not going to be quite as good of a fit as these other cities. Now, you might be asking, okay, so it's a little bit bigger of a city. So what is that going to look like when we're looking at job opportunities, the job market, and just the likelihood that you're actually going to end up working in Meridian if you choose to live there? Or are you going to be commuting to a different city? This is the next pro, in my opinion, of Meridian. Meridian being that second largest city here, there are a ton of great job opportunities that are currently here, and they're only expanding as more and more companies go. We've got a couple of our massive employers here, Sensi, we've got Blue Cross of Idaho. They have their headquarters in Meridian, so there's gonna be some great professional opportunities there. You're gonna have the St. Luke's Hospital, you're gonna have a few different urgent care centers and healthcare facilities all throughout Meridian. And then you're also gonna have opportunities like Shields, which is just about to open later this spring in Meridian, where if you're looking for something that's a little bit more part-time, you like that service industry side of things, or you're just really into the outdoors and that sounds like a cool job for you, Those kinds of things are coming to Meridian, which you just won't see those in some of the other towns around our valley. Now, I always like to note here in Idaho, our wages and the salaries offered here are not one of our strengths. That is definitely something that we need to work on. So if you're moving from somewhere else and you're looking to kind of continue your career here, do some research. Salary.com, payscale.com, those will help you see what you should expect out here in our area. But as far as the ability to find a career or have a wealth of opportunities in our valley, Meridian's gonna be up near the top. And as much as I see that continuing to get better and better as the growth continues and more people are coming to our valley, that's gonna be the next con that I wanna talk about. Meridian has completely exploded over the last 5 to 7 years. The secret is officially out. It was up near the top list of, hey, this is the best place to live in the country for a little bit, and Meridian just caught fire. When we're looking at the population growth, we're looking at the new developments coming in, we're looking at the home prices, of course, they have risen pretty dramatically over the last 5 to 7 years. And the reason this is one of the cons for me is that if you don't like this, you don't like the growth, you want a little bit more of a slower pace of life, anything along those lines, you don't like construction, Meridian might not be the best place for you because I don't see that growth stopping anytime soon. There are a few factors for this kind of across our valley that I can get into in a different video when we're talking about the desire for people to live here, the lifestyle we offer, still the relative affordability. Our relocation isn't going to be slowing down right now, but the main thing that I see is gonna continue this growth out is there's still so much space in South Meridian in particular for new developments, for new homes, all of these things that people are looking for. The land in Meridian is extremely valuable and people want to live here, so we're just gonna see that continue to grow. And again, I'm talking about this from the con side of things, but there are gonna be a lot of cool things that come with that growth as well. But if you are looking for that slower, kind of small town pace of life, you don't want the hustle and bustle, you don't want a ton of traffic or just growth feeling like it's coming at you from every corner, you may want to look elsewhere around our valley. And finally, to wrap up, I want to talk about a pro here that sounds so simple that a lot of times people just overlook it and they forget about it when they first move here. But also people like me, my wife and I moved to Eagle just over a year ago from Meridian. We didn't take this into consideration quite enough. It was something that we were really lucky to have. And now that we look at it, we're like, okay, we undervalued that just a little bit. And it's Meridian's proximity to everything in our Treasure Valley, especially Highway 84, Chinden, and State Street. Because of where Meridian is located, you have got access to the freeway. And if you can get to the freeway here in our valley, you can get from basically the far side of Boise all the way past Caldwell within about 30 to 35 minutes, depending on traffic. Getting from North Meridian to the highway, for example, can take you about 20 minutes itself. So the proximity that it has to the highway gives you opportunities to shoot all over our valley and save a little bit on that commute time. But even if you are located 15 to 20 minutes away from that freeway and you're like, okay, well, that doesn't really change anything for me, we have access to Chinden kind of on this north side, which can go all the way into downtown and all the way out to Caldwell. One more street over in more of Eagle, you're gonna have State Street, which again, shoots all the way down into downtown and then out past Middleton. So if you choose to live in Meridian, not only do you have access to the freeway to get downtown, if you wanna go to a Boise State game, you wanna go to dinner, maybe a concert downtown, you can get there pretty easily because of this proximity. But even if you don't wanna take the highway, maybe that's not the best route, or there's traffic, there's an accident, whatever. One of the things that I really like about Meridian is it's set up almost in a larger expanded grid pattern. So you're gonna have all these different roads going north and south and east and west. So if you need to, you can kind of shoot your way down some of those back roads and still get to where you're going without adding to that commute time. That isn't something that you can say for a ton of the areas around town. You basically have to find your way to the highway to make your way across our valley. So again, it might seem like it's a very small thing that really you don't feel like you need to consider, but it's one of those pros that as somebody who's lived here for over a decade, Meridian is pretty special in the opportunities, in the ways that it allows you to get around town. As someone who drives a ton for my job, this is definitely something that I miss having access to. My commute times have basically doubled based off where we're at now, and we made the choice, so I'm happy here, but that is definitely something that I wish I would have considered a little bit more when we made that move. All right, and if you're still here, thank you so much. I hope that this was helpful. Thank you for tuning in. If you learned something or you just enjoyed the video, hit that like, hit that subscribe button down below. That way I know that this actually kind of was important to you. You liked hearing about this. That is how I base making the next videos off of. So drop that down below. That's hugely helpful for me. And if you have any questions at all about your move up here to the Boise, Meridian, the surrounding areas, drop us an email down. It's in the description, it's in that first comment. I would absolutely love to help move your journey to Meridian just a little bit further down so that you can feel confident that this might be a great place for you. But in the meantime, watch one of these videos that's popping up. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you all on the next one.